White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders stopped this morning to talk to reporters outside the White House. She answered questions on an upcoming meeting with Democratic leaders on infrastructure spending, President Trump's plan to send undocumented immigrants to sanctuary cities, and the president's response to a shooting at a California synagogue.
Excuse me.
Sarah, over the weekend, the president condemned anti-Semitism 8 times. What has the administration actually done to try to keep that?
Well, I think one of the most important things we can do is use the bully pulpit of the president and call out this hatred by name, condemn it as the president has done, and will continue to do anytime something like this comes up. Hopefully we don't see another incident like this. It's a horrific and heinous moment and something that should never happen in our country. And the president, along with the entire administration, condemn that behavior and racism and bigotry and evil and violence in every form possible.
Can you point out multiple steps the president has taken?
Again, I think the most important thing he's done is to embrace the people of these communities that have been impacted and to condemn this behavior and call it out by name. I think that's something that can't be missed or ignored throughout the process.
Sarah,
Kevin?
I ask you about immigration. How close is the administration to rolling out new principles on immigration policy, and what's your expectation for working with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer? I understand they're coming here to the White House to that end.
The meeting tomorrow that you mentioned, the primary focus of that is supposed to be infrastructure, but certainly wouldn't be surprised if immigration isn't discussed as well. Two very big topics. Others are now starting to recognize what the president's been saying all along, that we really do have a crisis at the border. And in fact, it is inhumane for us to ignore it longer. We have a number of unaccompanied children skyrocketing, the number of those individuals coming across our border being smuggled and taken advantage of and exploited. And now members of the Democrat Party hopefully are seeing exactly what the president's been talking about and will have a new willingness to help us address it that they haven't had in the past. We'd like to see that happen. Tomorrow, you'll see us also talk about infrastructure, a place that there should be a lot of cooperation between Republicans and Democrats. It's vital for our country to repair our bridges, our roads, our airports, as well as our technology infrastructure. And hopefully we'll see some positive things come out of that meeting tomorrow. I know it's something the president is passionate about. As a builder himself, it's something he'd really like to see addressed, and hopefully we can talk about both of those issues and come out with something positive.
What specifically will the president propose tomorrow during this infrastructure meeting?
I'm not going to get ahead of the meeting. We'll see how that goes.
It seems like it's just
And
a photo op. It seems like both sides are coming with nothing on such an important issue.
Look, both sides know that something has to be done. A conversation needs to be started, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm not going to get ahead of that process, but certainly I think it is a big step that both sides, who have frankly had a lot of hostility towards one another over the last couple months, are sitting down at the table and discussing an issue that has to be addressed, and they both are showing a willingness to do something about it, and I think that's a good first step, and we'll see what happens from there.
Does the president waive executive privilege on any of the issues that came up during the Mueller investigation? Some of the people in Capitol Hill say he has, and generally in a legal proceeding, if you don't assert it early, you lose it.
Again, we're looking at all this. We want to be as cooperative as possible. I think you can see that by the level of cooperation the administration and the president's campaign staff and individuals played over the last 2.5 years with the Mueller investigation, providing 1.4 million pages in documents, thousands of hours in testimony, millions of dollars spent on this process. The president did not intervene and allowed and frankly encouraged his team to cooperate and be fully transparent. We're going to continue to do that, but at the same time, you have to look at the outrageous behavior, particularly of the House Democrats, who are asking for things they know they can't have, that they know they have no legal authority to have, and frankly, they're just acting really childish. It's almost embarrassing to the House Democrats, the way that they're behaving, the way the process should work. Look at the side on the Senate. Attorney General Barr will go there. He'll testify tomorrow in an open hearing. And you see the counter side to that is the House wanting to have staff and others interview Attorney General Barr. It really is outrageous the way that they're behaving, and hopefully you'll see that stop. But we're going to continue to be cooperative through the process.
Does the administration have any concerns that there are concerns up on the Hill as it relates to the USMCA, both Republican and Democrat, especially with some wanting steel and aluminum tariffs to be pulled off?
Not at this time. Again, we're still working through and pushing forward to a vote. At the end of the day, this is a historic trade deal that benefits Americans across the board, particularly those in our farming community and a number of other industries. It would be absurd for Congress not to push forward and pass this deal that really benefits American workers and certainly is much better than the deal that we've had through NAFTA over the last several years.
Have you been given any assurances that there will be a vote?
I'm not sure that wouldn't happen. I haven't been told that there's any reason to expect that a vote won't take place. So again, we continue moving forward and feel good about where we are. Andrew.
Why, if the president is so concerned about white supremacist extremism and white nationalism and all forms of hate, as you put it, why has, under this president, several DHS programs to combat white supremacist extremism, anti-Semitism, and violence associated with those types of groups been cut? Programs have been defunded, teams disbanded. Why does it keep happening if it's such a problem? And would the president support reforming some of those teams and refunding those programs?
Look, there are a number of programs that still exist, both at DHS and in the Department of Justice and other places throughout the administration. To pretend that the president is anything but outraged or heartbroken over these incidents is a total mischaracterization of the president. And again, we're going to look for every way possible to fight back against those things and speak out against it. Catherine?
Sorry.
Sarah, anything that gives you optimism that the president and Nancy Pelosi can work together on infrastructure after the last couple of months?
I think they both understand what an important issue that is. I think the willingness that we're seeing from the Democrats to come sit down here at the White House is a good step. But we'll see what happens. I'm not saying that we have a deal on the table, that this is for sure something will take place, but we're certainly hopeful that Democrats are ready to quit playing political games and actually start doing their jobs. And we think that their initiation to come here is a good step towards that. Justin?
Stephen Moore, the quotes have surfaced over the last couple of weeks of him referring to Ohio cities as armpits, of insulting clothes that women wear, of even comparing a girl on his son's soccer team to a horse. Is the president going to stand by his nomination? And if he does, isn't that condoning that type of language? And
certainly we're reviewing those comments, and when we have an update on that front, we'll let you know.
Sarah,
thanks, guys.
Can I ask a follow-up on immigration? The president said that he wanted to send illegal immigrants to sanctuary cities. When do you expect that program to start, and will San Francisco be one of those cities?
Look, we're in the process of figuring out all the details on how that would work. The priorities are making sure that it's done safely and expeditiously, but we're in the process of moving forward on that front. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Once, TV was simply 3